where dubplate culture actually comes from is from the vinyl days. So, you know, back then you had to press all the songs of vinyl, and then for the specific dub plates, like it was expensive, you know, it was expensive, and you could only play those dub plates maybe like 5 to 10 times before they broke, you know. So like they literally
Oh,
were
wow.
like secret, like secret fucking weapons, you know.
That's so cool. I didn't know that it was an actual vinyl. I didn't
Yeah,
know
it
it
was
went
like
that far back.
that's how far back it went. That's why it's, you know, it was a literal plate, you know, like
Okay.
so.
Damn.
Just keep, there's just something that happens when you hear a song, especially when you're someone that goes to shows like all the time, and you hear the build up, and you're like, holy shit, like we never hear this. Like I don't know when the next time I'm gonna hear this is, you know? FBI.
Yes, we've been stoked on this one. You were like one of the first people who popped into our head for this year.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we know that you have a lot to say.
Yeah.
Judging from your Twitter activity, yeah, we decided to just bring you on.
Yeah. I mean, I just be going on little old people rants on Twitter.
Old people rants? Like what?
No, I mean, like, because I don't know, I've been in the scene since before the term Riddim was even a thing, you know? So I just have like so much to compare, like today's state of dubstep, Riddim, trench to like what I consider the glory days. So I just like, I don't know if it's because like things are genuinely better back then, or if I'm just fucking jaded, or some combination of the two. But yeah, I just
Wait,
feel like an
so
old man.
what was it called before it was called Riddim?
Um, okay, so we just called it like wonk or swamp or like hench, because that sound came from Jake's, like, because like Jake's like pioneered that sound back in like 2008. So then his record label was Hinch Records. So he's like, oh,
Oh,
that like that hench sound. A little bit of homework for anyone watching this. Jake's Warface. If you want to know where Riddim came from, Jake's Warface. Like that's one of the tunes.
okay.
Jake's Warface, you heard it here. Well, so what have you been up to? I mean, Happy New Year, by the way. So what's been going on? What's cooking in your pipeline?
Happy New Year's. I just turned in my first release for 2023. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about that, so I'm just gonna say that
Yeah.
music is on the horizon. A very big remix for a very short person.
Oh no, he didn't. Dang, you came quick at it. You were quick with that one.
Had to.
But yeah,
And then
I said Lord Farquaad, so hint hint for anyone who knows.
Wink, wink.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, so I was super hyped to finish that one, super hyped to get that one released, because like typically when I make music, I kind of like to keep it for the live element. And I will admit that one of the faults I have is like I make music, but not for the release of not for the intent of releasing it. You know what I mean? I do not like releasing music. But beginning of 2023, it's just kind of like, all right, not only do I have a lot of releases that I'm working on, it's stuff that I'm genuinely happy that it is being released. So I'm super hyped on that. So like got the remix done, reworking an EP to try to get that like done. And then I'm also working on his second EP. And once I finish that, it's kind of like no time to wait. I just got to go rush and work on a third one. Because we're kind of in this weird state, because I released 7 tunes in 2022. And for me personally,
that's on DPMO or
I did my DPMO EP. I did a single on Space Shot, and then I did
Pucker Up, the hit of the
Pucker Up
year
as well, hit of the year, Anthem of the Summer. And I know there's one more, but for some reason it's slipping.
I'm seeing Space Yacht and SweetTooth and Sisto.
Yes, that's right. We did the Sisto. I did the collab with Sisto, and it's kind of just insane that like feeling like, all right, hell yeah, this is the most tunes I ever released. But as far as like the industry / consumer market's concerned, I feel like I need to double that, which is like bizarre because when I was, baby raver, baby dubhead, we'd be happy if we got 1 4-track EP from our favorite artist every other year,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I've seen you talk about it on Twitter too, like the element of playing stuff out live. Cause like you said, that was a huge part of the culture, like the dub plate culture. And I think I saw, was it Funcase was talking about it too? Like you would play it out live multiple times and like have the surprise element of sharing it with your artist friends and have them playing it live before you would even think about releasing it.
Oh, 100%. Because, it was all about like creating a vibe that you can only experience when seeing either yourself or someone that's like close to you. Because the thing is too, and sorry, I'm gonna go off on these little side tangents. Mm-hmm. It's just how I talk. But one of the problems I have with the music scene right now is I feel like a lot of sets lack identity, and I think it's because one of the things too is because like everything just gets released. You know what I mean? It gets released, and then you see the Beatport numbers, and then you see the Spotify numbers and the TikTok numbers, and then you're kind of like, all right, this is what I know statistically people want to hear. And back in the day, you were the tastemaker. You decided what people wanted to hear. Like you had your own secret arsenal, and you're like, hey, I know my music taste is fucking awesome. That's why I get paid to do this. I'm going to put you on to something that you wanted to hear that you didn't even know that you wanted to hear. Mm-hmm. So to go back to dubplay culture, it's like you'd make these tunes, either originals, remixes, or edits. And where dubplay culture actually comes from is from the vinyl days. So, back then you had to press all the songs of vinyl. And then for the specific dub plates, like it was expensive, it was expensive, and you could only play those dub plates maybe like 5 to 10 times before they broke, so like they literally were like secret like secret fucking weapons.
That's so cool. I didn't know that it was an actual vinyl.
It was like
that far back.
That's how far back it went. That's why it's it was a literal plate, like
okay.
So
damn.
just keep, there's just something that happens when you hear a song, especially when you're someone that goes to shows like all the time. And you hear the build up, and you're like, holy shit, like we never hear this. Like, I don't know when the next time I'm going to hear this is,
Mm-hmm.
And then as far as like sharing plates, it became kind of a respect thing. It's like someone you looked up to, kind of like, I see what you're doing. I fuck with you. Like, here's a piece of me that you can have in your sets that like no one else has. It's kind of like a friendship thing. You know what I mean? Like friendship / respect, it's kind of like knowing where you stand with certain people. And then it was a huge part of the culture when I was first coming up, but it just feels like something that's been kind of lost. And in doing so, I feel like a lot of songs that would have been anthemic back in the day, just like they have the potential to be an anthem. They just come out, and then the second they come out, everyone just like listens to the song or plays the song out live until they're sick of it. There isn't that like that scarcity that it's not special anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally get
Wait,
that.
so
I mean,
how long have you been in the scene actually? Just so we can have it here on record.
Oh, okay. I've been raving since 2009, and I've been going to what we would call Riddim now, or Trench or whatever, since 2012.
2012. How was it different back then? Like obviously besides the culture, like what were the shows different?
So it's crazy because back then we would get one show a month, and I live in LA, like born and raised LA. And at the time, LA was the only spot where you could really go to a pop and underground show. And we got it once a month, And back then too, if you saw a lineup, you're like, all right, man, like visas are tricky. A lot of these fools were not even having visas when they came, So it was like, you don't know if this fool's going to get caught playing a dirty tour and like getting his, getting his access to this country book. So
a dirty tour, that's a term that I haven't heard for that.
Yeah, that's what we used to call it back then. It's like, all right, this fool's dirty touring. Like, no, hey, you got to like make it happen somehow. But if you get caught, like,
you're fucked.
You're fucked. Yeah. So since there's this, it was just a sense of scarcity, like you couldn't see underground shows. Like you couldn't get that sound very often. And more specifically, if that artist was on a lineup, you don't know the next time you're going to see them again. And more often than not, like if you did see them, it'd be a year and a half, 2 years before they came back to town. Because that's just like how the scene was, especially with underground dubstep. There really wasn't a market that would, justify bringing out these artists as much, bring out these artists as often as we're able to now. You know, like it just wasn't there. So
Yeah,
since it, oh, sorry, what were you saying?
No, I was just gonna say that's a really interesting contrast to nowadays, where like I was just telling someone we have like 2 or 3 rhythm shows a week here in Denver, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, bam, like anything you could want, it's here. It's always gonna be here.
Yeah, I feel like you can relate to this as well, because I feel like Denver is similar to Los Angeles in the sense that Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you can be on the same main street and there'll be 3 different shows for the same genre going on at once. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. It's like, you know, share the wealth, share the opportunity. But the fact that you can get 3 of your favorite artists like playing different shows 3 days a week, it's just something we didn't have 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
We are blessed, but also
I feel like crazy. Denver's a hotbed though for the culture. Like the reason I go out so much is because I want to see the people. Like it's not just networking, it's like seeing all my friends and like getting to catch up with them and like let go of our fears throughout the day, because like we spend all day on the computer being stressed about shit, and then I get to go to the rave on Thursday and I get to see all my homies and we're just having fun jamming out, you know.
No, I feel like Denver has one of the best attitudes musically from, you know, from my personal experience of touring, because believe it or not, like I do have to be mindful of what I'm playing, where I'm playing it, you know. Like certain cities I have to play more like square 4 rhythm, you know, like other spots I have to play like more tear out, you know. Other spots I have to play like some top 40 or like blend in some top 40 so they don't get lost, you know.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
When I play in Denver, and especially Denver, I can really play the type of set that I would want to play, which is just like a progressive mix of everything I've fallen in love with throughout the years. And at no point, like even if I get like into the super most niche parts of my music collection, Denver's just right there, like rocking with me. Like that's just something I love about, you know, Denver as a city.
Yeah, it's like we have like an educated dubstep fan base.
Everyone just
educated across the board. Exactly.
Everyone here has a PhD in bass music.
Fucking love that.
So do you have any plans on coming out here this year that you can talk about?
Nothing I can talk about at the moment, but there are some things in the talks for sure for Denver. Especially after Denver. So sorry, I was gonna say Denver Ballroom.
Denver Ballroom.
Denver Ballroom. Yeah, but the last time I was at Mission, they created a little bit of positive buzz. So we're working on coming back out.
Wait, when were you last at Mission again?
You was there for the
dude. I know, but
I'm
blanking.
It was August, right?
August, yeah.
Sorry, I'm blanking.
No, you're good. And also too, I shouldn't assume that everyone watching would know that where us 3 people were at a very like random night during the summer.
Right. Well, because I was gonna say the last time I saw you was in Vegas in August. Right?
I think Vegas was a little bit before.
It was like August 10th when I saw you. And then I saw you again at the Keizo show.
Yeah, it was Vegas when I played Hard Rock with Kill the Noise.
Which was really fun, actually. Although the crowd was kind of rowdy. Like, not gonna lie. The crowd was aggressive.
I love that. Like that's my whole goal. Like,
well, you succeeded that goal for sure.
Because my goal as an artist is, you know, like I come from the punk scene. And the reason I fell in love with dubstep is when I was first going to dubstep shows, they're like literal shitholes, like hole in the wall venues, dive bars, dirty, smelly. Like it was a borderline fight the entire night, but no one was like mad. There's no drama. You know, it's like, hey, we're a bunch of fucking pissed off kids. And this is how we get our anger out. It's therapeutic, you know? So, and that's why I fell in love with dubstep. You know, it just reminded me of like the punk scene. It was the closest thing in dance music to like the punk scene. So I try to like give that environment, you know, because I'm like, hey, this is what made me fall in love with it. So if I can bring out this like anger in you in a healthy, constructive way to where I can push people to their point of like their breaking point without it being like an actual problem, like that's what I want, you know? Like how close can we get to this being a problem before it becomes a problem?
Without it is. Yeah. Well, and I always like think about, you know, the dubstep scene. I'm like, there's so many different types of people in it too. And I feel like it's all the people who never really had like the click. Like they're all of the outcasts, but then they found their people because they all feel like outcasts. So they're together as one, if that makes sense.
No, 100%. And the cool thing too is like now there's so many just different subsects of genre of dubstep, you know, like you have the Wook crowd, or you know, the hippie kids, and then you have like the Riddim kids, which are just little street rats, you know.
And then the melodic dubstep kids.
Yeah, and then you have the which I would imagine were the AV anime club kids in high school, you know, like
yeah.
There's a little spot for everyone. It's kind of cool.
You got everyone.
How was Summoning Festival?
I'm wearing the shirt right now.
Oh, word.
Yeah, that was good.
Sorry if this offends anybody, but yeah, Summoning Fest was the best festival experience I've ever had. Nothing ever even came close. Like, except for in North America, I will say.
Okay. You'll have to elaborate on that.
I will elaborate. Because there's been kind of a Pandora's box that opened ever since dubstep kind of like rocketed itself into mainstream popularity in dance music, because there's a point where I first came into the scene where actually when I first came into the scene, dance music was seen as a joke as a whole. You know, it's like, oh, you go to raves, you're fucking weird. And then within the dance scene, it was like, oh, you listen to dubstep? Like, you're fucking weird. And then within dubstep, it was like, you listen to Riddim? Like, the fuck is wrong with you, you know? So it's like that meme with the iceberg, and you're just going like lower and lower and lower. And like Riddim was at the just very, very bottom, you know?
Sounds about right.
Now, now it's arguably one of the most popular subgenres in dance music, which is cool because... But at the same time, it's brought a bit of commercialism to it. And then I think anyone should be allowed to make what they want. Like if they like the sound, they should be able to make it. But it has attracted people who are attempting to make the sound because they think that's what's going to sell right now. And they're getting into it without like doing the research of where it came from, or, you know, like who the founders are. And I'm not necessarily against someone who's new to a genre, like making a name for themselves in that genre. Granted, they take the time to do the research and be like, all right, yo, these are the guys who came before me. If you like me, you need to fucking pay them respects, you know. But I feel like on the festival scene in America, a lot of the culture has been lost, and it's to a point where like there's so many people in power that have no idea where the culture came from that they actually couldn't even teach the people that they're putting on if they wanted to, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how quickly some artists have risen by just playing like the heavy shit. Like, I don't know, I'm not gonna like go into details with that, but how do you think that we can recover the culture and like actually make it be more deeper and more meaningful?
It kind of depends on the individual, you know, and to like those that are in seats of power have a big responsibility as well. Because like when I was coming up, not even as a DJ, but just as a fan, I noticed that my generation of music listeners, we just had more interest to educate ourselves on the genre. Like we loved it so much that we wanted to know everything about it. And I think now it's become kind of a socially acceptable thing. So there are people that don't necessarily, not saying that they don't like the music, but they're there for more social reasons than just for music, which like I can't be mad at anybody for that, you know?
Yeah.
But I think there's just so many people that like, oh, all my friends do this, so I want to do this too. So they're not going to take
like
that
the drug culture.
That too, like this is this cool spot for me to party and veg out and not think about anything. And so like they're not going to go be like, oh, who's Jake's, or oh, who's Subfiltronic, or oh, who's AD, or who's D2, or who's Chrome Star, you know? Like they're not going to be like, or if they're a SweetTooth fan, they're not going to be like, all right, who did SweetTooth get into? Or, you know, who got, because for me, I was always about Cookie Monster and Funcase. Like those two are there why I became a DJ. But then once I figured out everything about their discography, I started watching interviews of them and started listening to like who got them into dubstep, you know? And I think it's partly those are the top responsibility, and also partly personal responsibility. You know, like if you say you love this culture as much as you do, like I'm not saying that you have to become a total fucking nerd to make your whole personality, but like, yo, just take that little extra time, like see where shit came from, you know? And that's what I was gonna get to about Summoning Fest is Danny is someone that like I don't think people realize how deep Danny's lineage in dubstep goes. You know, like he's
His
been
lineage.
around.
We're nerding out here.
We're nerding
He's a generational bass music artist.
He has been around for a long time, and he is someone that has respect from all the OGs. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he's really created his own style, but he's someone that if he wants to, he can go back and make, you know, proper rhythm, proper deep dub and do it well. And the OGs and the founders respect him for that. And he gives credit where credit is due, you know?
Dude, his Black Label shit, that's how I first discovered him.
Yes.
Boy Ball and all that, Last Life.
The Spell Jam EP was where, like, because I met Danny when he moved from NorCal to LA. And it was literally just like, hey, do you want to be friends with Sudden Death? And then it was like he had no, he just moved, so he's kind of meeting people. I'm like, and he was really good friends with David Yax, who's one of my like longtime best friends. So I remember Danny was showing us all tunes. We're like, yo, this is insane. This is insane. And then when he dropped that Spell Jam EP, like the first Lost Lands, I heard Spell Jam in like literally every set. And we're just like, dude, Danny's just gonna, you know. So to go back to what,
and now he has his own festival, like that's insane.
To go back to that festival, you can tell he really put that lineup together for the love of music. You know, like he's like, hey, all right, who are up and comers that I've actually taken the time to listen, like that I've taken the time personally to listen to, and that my personal demographic really wants to see. And who are some of the OGs that should be playing more, but they're just not like getting the opportunities, you know, like man's blessed us with a Benz mixer set. Like a Benz mixer. That? A Benz mixer is an OG rhythm artist. And he's
did he
someone
play on the main stage?
No, he played in the cave, which I'm actually like happy that he did.
It was the vibe that
was the vibe. Happen. That was the vibe, you know? Because to go back, sorry to dubplay culture, but when I'm like, all right, people are warmed up, it's time to drop a fucking nuke on them. And this is gonna be the crowd divider, you know, like this is gonna be the kids that are actually super into rhythm are gonna lose their shit. And the people that aren't are gonna get a little confused. It's always a Benz mixer plate. Like every time. And then the cool thing though is when I drop that Benz mixer plate, like I look behind me before the drop happens because I look at all the homies and it's gonna be this kind of like, all right, wait for it. And when it drops, the people that are educated lose their minds so hard that it kind of just, you know, infatuates the rest of the crowd. So everyone's just like, oh.
Was that about the time that the guy crawled on stage?
You got to tell us the story.
Our photographer was shooting you, and he texted us right away. He's like, "Someone just crawled on stage."
But just for everyone listening, like this story is crazy. So I feel like you got to tell everyone what happened.
I will. Okay, so during my summoning fat cess, I fucked that sentence up tremendously. But summoning best set. There we go. I'm like halfway through my set. I'm playing a Dr. Ushu tune, which is one of my favorite artists, you know, and I'm about to bring in like, because I do like a small cookie a cookie testimony like every, not testimony, but tribute, that's the word I'm looking for, sorry. I do a small cookie tribute in every set that I play. So I'm loading up the cookie song on deck 3, and the Ushu song that's playing is on deck 1, and I have one hand on the 3rd channel crossfader, and I'm bringing it up and deck 1 goes out. So I'm just fucking confused because I'm like, there's no way I touched anything on the left side of the CDJs, even on accident. So I turn around and this dude is just like staring at me.
So, oh my God, the music went out?
Yeah, the music goes out completely. So this dude's just like staring at me. And my first thought is I'm thinking he's a stagehand or like security or something. So I'm waiting for him to say like, hey, we cut the music. We need you to say this on the mic. I didn't know someone got hurt or there's whatever the fuck, you know, like, so I'm waiting for that. And then I look down and I see actual security. And that's when it clicks. I'm like, oh shit, this dude's not supposed to be on stage. So
he just crawled up.
He just sprinted up. So then I grabbed the mic and I'm like, yeah, I have no idea who this fucking asshole is. And the second I say that, like, all my homies rush on stage with security and they like grab him, and he just starts he tries to steal the CDJ, mind you, while all this is happening. Like, so he's trying to steal the CDJ. Yeah.
Fuck?
My homies are grabbing him, and then at this point he starts like swinging and like biting and shit like that. So, and he starts screaming like, I'm God, you know, like all this other shit. And
as he steals the CDJ.
Yeah, as an attempt was made. He didn't actually get to steal the CDJs. And on the, very slim chance that was God, I think I was right about leaving Christianity because he seems very limited in his powers.
He was foaming.
I love that. That's crazy though. But at least they were able to get him off stage right away.
He was able to get off stage right out, because I know the way I described it, it makes it sound like a pretty long ordeal, but everything I described, I watched the video, and I think it all happened in about 10 seconds or so. Like in the heat of the moment, it felt a lot longer, but he got on stage, tried to steal a CDJ. The security was able to get him off as safely as possible, and like kept injuries to a minimum. I know that he did like kind of swing on some people on his way out, which is just super unfortunate, but it didn't kill the vibe. Like, like everyone just kind of like, it happened. We got him out, got music started right back again. It was a vibe. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it gave a lot of people a lot of really funny stories to tell. But yeah, I ended up finding out later. I was like, yo, what was up with that dude? Like, is he good? Like, cause like, yeah, in that moment, you're initially thinking like, dude, fuck this guy. But then as things kind of settle down, you're like, all right, he might not be all there. He might be having a super bad trip, or it might be like a combination of the two,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like bath salts or something.
Yeah, so I was just like, yo, like, is he good? Like, is he cool? And then they're like, yeah, he's good now. Like, he's really sorry. He just, he smoked DMT and then he thought he was God. And I'm like, okay.
That happens when you smoke DMT.
Like,
yeah, worst timing. The cave.
And if you're somehow watching this, God that tried to steal the CDJ from me, it's all good. Just, watch yourself. Don't do it again. Don't bite people. Yeah. It's bad.
You guys can reminisce about it when you get to heaven.
Yeah.
So you briefly mentioned an out of the country show. Is that Rampage? Tell us more what you were talking about.
Yes. Rampage.
Rampage, not Rampage open air though.
Both actually. Both were very revitalizing experiences for me, because I went on my little rants about how I feel about the commercialization of the US dubstep scene. And though I do think it is very beneficial in some aspects, it just comes with a hindrance to the artistry and, just the culture, the art culture itself, So it got to a point where I started feeling more like a businessman than a musician. And the thing is, like, I'm okay with being a businessman. Like, that's one thing people need to understand. Like, being a successful artist is you have to balance artistry and, like proper business. And that's something I knew getting into this. But after a while, I felt like the scale was being tipped in the favor of just pure business, and like it just started wearing on me. It got to a point where, like, don't get me wrong, I still love dubstep, but there's just so many, like, I just felt like I was in a fucking rut, Like nothing was exciting me. I even changed the way I was playing my sets, because I feel like I would play to crowds, and if I would do something really educated or really technical, I feel like it would just go over everyone's head. And
that just gets to the, it's like so many artists that we talk to, they're like, I want to make techno and hard dance, but I know that people associate my brand with dubstep, so I'm going to keep making that. And like, we always advise them, you should make what you want to make. Like, stop trying to make things that you think people will stream. I just don't like that.
No, 100%. I think there's an art to balance, like, and I think too, there's an art to presentation as well. Like, if you're a dubstep artist, I'm not saying that you can't make a techno tune, but you have to, if you're trying to release it, you have to have an educated plan about how you're going to slowly sprinkle this in, because one thing I noticed for me personally is, like, I'm more of a DJ than a producer. And when I do produce, I like to produce like weird shit that if you haven't heard it live, it doesn't really make sense yet, And the point I was getting to is, like, my sets and even my songs, I make my songs to make sense in a DJ element, like for doubles and triples and routines and chopping routines, you know? So my sets are very heavily like I'm playing all 4 decks at the same time. I'm running a double and then I'm bringing in another double, you know, and then like just, and when the underground, like that's how I came up. But then when I went to the festival circuit, that was going over everyone's heads. So I had to like dumb down my sets for a while, because if I was going super hard on doubles and triples and shit, I would actually lose the focus of the audience because they couldn't like digest what I was, you know.
They're just like, what is going on here? Why does everything sound so mashed or like meshed and like mixed up
like,
together?
Yo, dude, this is cool, but this is kind of intense, you know, like
like too much.
So I'd have to play like what I call crowd. Like, you would think there's no such thing as too intense, but I definitely learned that there is such thing as a too intense. So I had to kind of like bring my sets back a little bit, still play the same intensity of songs, but like I had to pace myself a little slower than I'd like to pace myself. And I would do, you know, less doubles, less chopping, you know, I would still chop every now and then. I'd still have a couple doubles, but it was more about like playing a set that like people could follow, even if this is their first day in dubstep, you know? And when
is that why you liked the European festival?
Yes. So when I went to Europe, I met, you know, some of my best friends, Dr. Ushu, Bizo, Azabeam, Madcore, and Shark. And in the American circuit, I fucking love Shark.
Yes.
Fabian, if you're watching this, I fucking love you, Doug. But I pride myself on being one of the most technical DJs in the North American dubstep scene. You know, like if I'm going, you know, if I'm sharing the decks with anyone, like I like pushing people to a point where if they're wondering if they can keep up with me, there's no one that I don't feel confident like keeping up with in the US American scene. And I know that's a very bold statement, but that is something that I'm very confident in saying.
When it says a lot about how you think.
When I went to Europe, these underground kids, the kids I named, Shark, Azabeam, like I went back to back with Azabeam, and he had me actually fucking sweating to keep up. Like the doubles he was pulling out of his ass, I was just like, yo!
Damn, maybe we need to get him on a mix.
Oh, 100%. So then when I was going back to back with him, that like little bit of just the underground LA in me kind of woke up, and I was like, yo, like, why did I stop mixing this aggressively? Like, you know, and then when I was in Europe really fucks with like pushing yourself to limits, doing shit that no one else is doing, you know, like taking risks. Like the more risks you take in Europe, the more everyone's hyped on what you're doing. So doing Rampage, doing open air, playing Next Level in Budapest, playing
Budapest. We saw videos from Keizo's set there.
Budapest is wild.
Dude, they might be in the top 5 bass capitals of the world.
No, 100%. I was just gonna say that everyone says that Montreal is a bass capital world, which I do believe, but Budapest is coming, and I think the reason why more people aren't saying Budapest is because they haven't played there yet.
They just don't know. They don't even know what country Budapest is in. Like most people just have no idea.
Well, a lot of people in the scene here, it's not that there's nothing bad with that, but like a lot of people that I've met in this scene, they've never left the country, or like they've gone to just Mexico or Canada. But like I've met so many people that never left and just never even been to Europe. Nothing.
That kind of makes sense. I do think everyone should leave the country, especially like whether it be from a music standpoint or just from seeing the world, you know. But if you grew up in America, if you grew up in America, America has so much to offer in every little random facet of what humanity has to offer. There's almost no need to leave, especially because all the places you want to go to, the people that are from there try to leave there to come here because they know they can monetize it easier, you know?
Everywhere we go, they're like, oh, I wish I could go to America. It's just too expensive. And I'm like, oh, I wish you could too.
100%.
I'm over here like, I wish I could just move to Spain. Like,
I know.
No, if I could move anywhere, it'd be either England or France. And the reason I say France is because I got all the homies there. And the dubstep scene in France is... And the thing is, like, when I go there and I romanticize the dubstep scene in France, like, what do you mean? Like, we want to experience a dubstep scene in America. You guys have all the shows. I'm like, yo, but like, quality versus quantity, man. Like...
Dude, and like the producers out of France, like Samplifier, Ivory, Dr. Ushu, like just you could go on.
Hole. Yeah. And his twin brother, Hurtbox.
Oh, Hurtbox. Hurtbox is up next. Like, when is he coming? Like,
yeah, I think as far as like countries go, I think France is the most cracked for underground dubstep.
Yeah. I actually haven't been to France. I really want to go. I'm kind of saving like a 2 or 3 week trip for France because I'd want to see all the chateaus and go to a bunch of shows and all that.
Dude, you should go to Rampage and then plan a Europe trip where you go to France. Because the cool thing about Europe is like, for us crossing states or even us crossing cities, it's like they can cross countries with the same little bit of ease. So like when I played Budapest, all my French homies were there. I'm like, wait, what the fuck are you guys doing here? Like,
it's like the equivalent of traveling across Texas from France to Budapest.
They're like, oh, dude, it was like a 2-hour train, and the train's like $30. So yeah, we're here.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh. That's like the craziest thing. I remember I was living in Barcelona for a little bit. I would go on Skyscanner, Google Flights, $30 to go to Paris one way, or go to Germany. And I was like, fuck yeah, full send. And I was like going to a different country like every weekend, just flying there, taking a backpack.
Literally.
So that's the one thing I miss about. I guess that's the reason why I would move to Europe, is to travel all over the place. Go to Africa, even go to Asia, everywhere.
Yeah, when does dubstep come into Africa?
That's the question of the year, I guess, right? Does Africa like EDM? I mean, what's going on down there?
I feel like they probably have a huge techno scene, as do like probably like techno and trance.
Gosh. In like Morocco and like probably Johannesburg.
And I know I think Egypt is big on like psytrance and like,
techno and shit. Yeah, Middle Eastern
techno,
stuff.
like hard dance as well. So I don't know if dubstep's gone there yet. Maybe it'll be like within the next 10 years, hopefully.
Maybe it's our duty to bring it there.
Hey, I'm so with it.
Well, there are rumors that that United Airlines is trying to create the first direct flight to Africa from Denver.
Oh, wow. I didn't hear that.
I just read it like 2 days ago on the
Did they
news.
say what country?
I think Egypt, actually.
Okay, that would make sense.
And then maybe South Africa, but I think that's too far.
Yeah, do they even have a jet that can go from Denver to South Africa?
Yeah, that'd be too long.
787s, man.
I've had a lot of luck with nothing happening to me on an airplane with how much I fly, but like I don't want to push my luck with the different South Africa flight.
Yeah,
but if that were to happen, all right, we're going to Africa, bringing dubstep there, educating.
I'm with it.
Yes. Well, we have a couple of questions for you. I know we're chatting away. We are chatty Cathy's right now. But I'll start off. What do you think about going back to back with USAB Flow?
Oh, I would love to do that.
Okay, hell yeah.
Because USAB Flow is someone that came up the same way I came up, because how I got my name was I came up before I was producing. I was just a DJ, and I was posting videos of doubles, triples, chopping routines, and they blow up, and I started getting shows. And he did the same thing during the pandemic. So all the hate he was getting for being just a DJ, I was someone that was able to reach out and be like, hey man, I've been there too. Like, this is how you get through it. This is how you ignore it. Like, you should start producing, but like, don't let people get to you,
Yeah, at one point he like chopped the entire night compilation. We were all watching that.
I remember seeing that.
And like, if I did a back-to-back with USAB Flow, I wouldn't brand it as a back-to-back. I would brand it as a versus set, because that's how back-to-backs used to be branded. They'd be versus sets. And it would literally turn into like, okay, dog, who can keep up with who? Like, I
didn't realize that was part of it.
Yeah. It's all friendly competition, but it's kind of like, all right, like, who's the badder DJ, like, who's sicker on the decks.
Okay, good to know. We might have to host a little SweetTooth versus USAB Flow in Denver one day. I don't know.
Yeah, Daniel, if you're watching this, I'm gonna put you in your place. All love though.
He's doing a mix for us in a couple weeks. So
fucking love Daniel.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. All right, next one here, DJ Dougie T. He wants to know, did Funcase have anything to do with your current dance moves?
Yes, 100%. I used to, before I even touched decks, I used to just watch Funcase recap videos over and over and over. And then I would go to my bathroom and I would look in the bathroom mirror and I would pretend that my sink was the pair of CDJs and I would like practice his dance moves. So when I
that is amazing.
Yeah, and then
you practiced Funcase.
Yes, I practiced Funcase in the mirror using my sink as a pretend pair of CDJs before I even owned a mixer. So when I first started DJing, like stage presence was a huge thing for me because of Funcase. Like I wanted to be Funcase, you know?
Mm-hmm. So he's your idol.
He's my idol. Like James, close your ears. I've never had a bigger idol in Funcase than Funcase in my entire life. You know, like he's the reason I became a dubstep DJ. He's the reason I produce the way I produce. He's the reason why I mix the way I mix. You know, I try to make SweetTooth like my generation's version of Funcase. You know what I mean? Because there are things that I'm gonna do because I grew up in a different time than he did, but I still kind of use like Funcase as the blueprint. But to go back to stage presence, my stage presence was so much like his in the beginning to the point where I'd watch videos and be like, all right, this is a fucking problem. So now
carbon copy.
Exactly. I'm like, all right, let's keep the same volume of energy, but like let's be more Devin. Like let's be more SweetTooth, let's be more original with it, you know?
Yeah. That's cool. And now you're on his label.
Yes. Day one DPMO, by the way.
Really? When
Day one. So wow. It's 2017. Me and Funcase had started becoming more friendly. We weren't really friends yet, but it got to the point where if I saw him in certain places, he would recognize me and be like, "Oh, Dev, like what's up?" And we talk here and there. So it's 2017. Impending Doom is getting denied by every label.
Impending Doom got denied
by every label.
That's fire, though. That's like such a sick track.
Right. And at the time, I didn't even know DPMO was a thing, but Funcase put his submission email up. And I had sent it to him kind of like, not sign this. I'm like, hey, I finally think I have a tune that's worth your time. You know, like, let me know what you think. And it's my first out-of-state show. So I wake up because we're driving from Minneapolis to Chicago. So like 8-9 hour drive. I wake up and I have a Twitter DM from Funcase. And like I said, we weren't really friends at the time. I was still like idle mode. And I'm like, oh, okay. And he's like, yo, this song you sent me, it fucking bangs. I played it last night and it went off. So he's like, I have a couple tweaks, tweak this, tweak that, and then I'm signing it immediately. And not only am I signing it, but I'm going on tour and I'm starting my tour with this song. Wow. And then he's like, all right, I'm going to tell you, this is a fucking secret, but I'm starting a crew. It's called DPMO. If you want in, you're in. We're taking over the underground and like, you're part of the family. I get out of the car and I start screaming and like running around in circles and shit.
Shit, I would have been too.
Because at that point, this is my first weekend playing out of state shows. Like I was a fucking no one back then, you know. Like I had a little underground hype, but like I hadn't released on a major label. I hadn't really done anything noteworthy, and I have like my fucking idols like, hey dog, you're rocking with me now. You're part of the crew. As my first release, I was like, dog.
Oh. And it's someone you idolize, and like it was one of your first solid songs that you had made.
And the cool thing too is Level, you know, the guy, the homie I made the track with.
Absolutely.
He was also a huge circus fan, you know, and like we were both these huge circus fanboys. So for us to have our, you know, to share first release on our dream label, like with my best friend, she was awesome.
I bet. And then you guys went back to back, right? At the Rampage open air, which
the main Rampage, yes.
Okay, main one. So yeah, I watched that on YouTube. That shit fucks.
Yeah, so I actually had to keep that a secret for 2 years because, as you guys know, we were supposed to do Rampage in 2020, but the pandemic. But the week of Rampage, I'm at James's house preparing, and he's like, "Oh, by the way, I'm going back to back with you guys. You guys are gonna play your set halfway through, and then I'm gonna make my entrance, and then I'm gonna go back to back with you guys." And I'm like,
"Wait, at
what?
James's house? Who's James?"
James's Funcase. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah.
I will start using their actual their stage names. I'm sorry.
I had inferred that, but I didn't want to assume.
Yeah, so like I'm like, wait, it was literally my fucking dream, because in 2014 my dad came in my room and he's like, and I just quit an MMA career. Like I was literally about to go pro. I quit.
Wow.
Yeah, about to go pro, quit like literally before my first pro fight, and then became a DJ. And then first my parents were like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
So then after a while, my dad comes in my room, he's like, all right, I'll bite. Like what's the biggest you can do? Like how far can you take this? So it was actually during the Rampage live stream, and I'm like, hey, like this is the biggest show in dubstep. That guy right there, his name is Funcase. Like he's my favorite DJ. And my dad watched that set with me. He's like, yo, I get it. So
Wow.
6 years later, I get to tell my dad, like, hey, dad, remember that fucking festival I showed you with the guy that was playing? Not only am I playing that festival, but I'm going back to back with him.
And yeah, he signed your music and now you guys are homies, like literally manifestation.
Exactly. It's kind of cool to like go back to my parents and be like, hey, I did exactly what I said I was going to do word for word. So yeah, we're playing. Exactly. We're playing Rampage, and I didn't know that there was going to be a fucking second stage. So like I'm playing Rampage, and then the cue was play Impending Doom, and when Impending Doom was done, echo out, and then like we're gonna have a moment of silence, and then Funcase is gonna like come down. So we play Impending Doom, I echo it out, lights go off, everyone's like, okay, something's about to happen. And then it's just the fucking Funcase fanfare, and they bring him from a stage from the goddamn ceiling. And I'm just like,
wait, what? So
yes,
he levitated down, or?
Yeah, so they had a stage that had like but it was on, I can't think of the word right now, but like they elevated it. Yeah, they brought a platform down from the ceiling, and that's like where he came from.
Was that at the end?
It was exactly 30 minutes into the set.
So I'm like, I don't remember seeing that, but
I need to rewatch this.
Yeah, it's exactly 30 minutes in. And I remember while watching it, it didn't process because I was like, damn, spent 10 years getting here. This is literally my fucking day one dream. I'm playing Rampage, biggest fucking dubstep festival in the world, playing with Funcase, who is coming down from the ceiling right now. And there's 20,000 people watching me live, and all my friends and family are watching on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, this is happening.
That's what I meant when I tweeted the other day, and I was like, EDM works in mysterious ways. That's it.
Yeah, it's just one of those things too, because like when your lifelong dream is happening in front of you, it's kind of weird because you expect to feel this certain way when it actually happens, but in the moment it's just kind of like you do so much time and prep, and you know, by the time you get there, it's just like, yeah, I deserve to be here, you know?
Yeah, like it feels so right in the moment because you know that you deserve it.
Exactly. But
it doesn't feel like it's happening.
It also didn't feel like it was happening. It's like, one, I deserve to be here, but two, this also doesn't feel real right now. Do I deserve to be here?
Gotta pinch myself. Is this happening?
Is this actually happening?
And then it's one of those where like the night's over and the next day you can't stop watching videos and you're like, oh my God, last night was so perfect. And you like,
no, 100%. Like I actually cried backstage like after it happened, because in the moment it didn't click. But then after I was like, what the fuck just happened? You know?
That's so cool.
Love that for you. That's amazing.
Funcase is making dreams come true.
Dude, yeah, not only mine, but I've watched him both start and save so many careers. It's fucking insane. Like there have been so many people that were on the verge of quitting just because of like things that I've gone over and other things that happen combined with personal issues. And Funcase is the type of person that will really just sit there and talk to you and hear what's wrong and do everything he can and provide you with all the resources that he has to like, hey, like you have all the talent and skill to do this. I don't think you should give up. If you want to give up, that's fine. But like, hey, let's just try it this way. And if you're still not feeling it, I totally understand. And I've just seen him like I said, just both start and save so many careers, you know?
Yeah, mad respect.
Right.
Well, we're going to run through these. We have some more questions for you. We're going to run through them.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Kevin Connor is asking all the hot questions. He's asking Kleenex brand tissue or Puffs brand tissue.
I'm just gonna go Kleenex just because I feel like that's what I know. But if it gets the boogers out, we're chilling.
I love that. Gets the job done. But it has to be 2-ply.
Yeah. Not 3-ply. 3-ply is way too much.
I don't think I've come across a 3-ply.
One weird thing I ran into Europe.
That's some bougie shit.
Yeah, what? Like, what kind of hotel were you staying at?
Yeah, geez. Normally they don't even have toilet paper at the bathrooms in Europe.
3-ply actually hurts.
It's like a piece of wood.
Literally. It's like you can feel the tree where it came from.
Oh God. Jesus.
It's too funny.
And then Kevin Connor also wants to know, what country have you not toured yet that you want to perform in?
Japan.
Ooh.
Japan would be sick.
And Japan was one that was just about to happen. And then COVID.
Dude, fuck COVID sometimes. But COVID birthed DUBSTEP FBI, so I'm grateful.
There's there's the very obvious shitty things that happen, but out of that, like, if you were able to, take the time that was allotted and make something, awesome, life, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. You guys made the lemonade, so
there you go.
Yes,
we made
Japan.
A whole ass lemon meringue.
Hell yeah. I don't even know what that is, but it sounds delicious.
Yeah, that pie, a lemon
pie.
Oh,
I like pie.
Okay, well, we're gonna move into the lightning round because we have 7 more really pressing questions to get through in the next 9 minutes. So easy. Mac or PC?
Mac.
Yes.
Ableton or FL?
Ableton.
High knees or low knees?
High knees.
Always.
I always love seeing like your high knees, especially when you were out here in Denver. Like, it was just so entertaining, just like watching you do all these doubles and doing like high knees and then watching the crowd. Like,
yeah, because
it's just so contagious. Your energy is just so contagious. Like, it makes me want to do high knees right then and there backstage.
Exactly. Back in my day, we didn't headbang. We did high knees and gun fingers. So I want to keep that alive.
Love that.
What's the favorite back-to-back you've ever done? You can say 2, because I think you already talked about it.
Ooh. Probably Ben's Mixer at this little random club. It was a Union, which is like the underground LA club. It was for the Baron memorial show. Baron's mom actually threw it, and she got a bunch of people that like were friends with Baron back in the day. So I went back to back with Ben's Mixer, and basically Ben's Mixer is one of the craziest DJs in the game. So the way I DJ now was partially due to me preparing myself to go back to back with Ben's Mixer. So the way that Ben's Mixer plays is he starts off slow and his sets progressively get faster. And he's like, hey, do you mind if I start the set? And I was like, okay, you can start the set, but if you start the set, we're keeping my level of aggression the entire set. We're not warming up, And he's like, okay, bet. So that set was just like doubles on doubles on doubles. And we were doubling and chopping off of each other, which was like insane.
Damn.
And then my back-to-back with Level at Rampage Open Air. Because I feel like stylistically, Level partners the best with me because it allows me to do more of the crazier stuff, but he keeps the same energy while doing more of the storytelling vibe and, like giving the crowd a chance to breathe without bringing the energy level all the way down. You know what I mean? And I feel like we've mastered the back and forth, and we both know what our jobs are in a back-to-back with each other. And the Open Air was our best, like, most thorough back-to-back that we've ever done. And that's my fucking best friend, man,
That looked like a really fun set.
Oh, so fun. Especially because like I didn't even know.
We gotta go out there for that show.
Yes. Rampage. Make it happen. Next time I play Rampage.
Are you going this year?
Can't say.
Can't say.
Well, I'm not playing, but
I'm not playing, but I'm not March just because it's I got some stuff out here to handle. But as of right now, I'm planning on being there at the very least for Open Air.
And that's in June?
July.
Okay. Yeah.
Ooh, right at the peak of tourist season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you can make that week in Belgium make that week in Belgium happen, you won't regret it.
Belgium.
Tomorrowland?
No. Yeah.
Yes.
I'd rather go to Rampage Open Air though. Because we already been to Tomorrowland.
No, I was just saying like both, but that's
both. Yeah, fuck it.
Every true dubstep head owes it to themselves to make one trip to Rampage before they die. Totally. You have to do it.
All right. Yeah, Dubstep FBI is going to sponsor it.
Sponsoring one lucky winner. If you're listening this far, we're picking one lucky winner.
You could be the one.
You could be. Enter on our Instagram.
All right. Next one. Who are your producer best friends?
Oh man, I have so many fucking friends.
You're popular.
Honestly, that was something that happened during the pandemic. I was in a very like dark, isolated place, and that was just because of touring, and I didn't really have the opportunity to make friends, and my friends were just people like I crossed paths with on the road, you know. But during the pandemic was the first time I actually had time to, you know, like nourish and grow actual friendships, you know. So this is the least lonely I've ever been, and that's because of the pandemic. But they got to get the Europe boys out of the way. Shark, Azabeam, Bezo, Madcore, Ushu, fucking Soundwreck, J-Moss, Izadi, Yax, Funcase, Versa, Level, of course, my best friend. Got the homie Suspect, Lazy Flex, Chromatic. I'm trying to fire off just all the grocery boys. Fucking,
I was gonna say grocery boys.
all the grocery boys.
Shout out to grocery boys.
You guys, if I didn't say your name, don't get butthurt. Gibby, Destroya, Physics. Oh yeah, Riot 10, Keizo, Corsu. Gotta show some love to the big boys. Hesh, one of my day one homies. Alex, Al Ross, fucking love you. Danny, Sudden Death as well. Gaps. Fuck, dude, there's so many people that I've gotten really close to like within the past 2 years, you know? And if I didn't, Daniel, you say B-Flow. Stains, I know it's one of the grocery boys, but like fucking Stains, man.
We've been hearing about him too.
If you like Riddim, like actual fucking Riddim, I will say this with my entire chest. Stains is the best proper Riddim producer in North America right now. Like, I'm putting my fucking foot down. Like, he's the fucking best. And he's someone that brings new elements to it while actually paying honor to its roots. And he's diverse in his sound. Like, the amount of versatility he shows in a genre that people feel is extremely stagnant and repetitive is just unparalleled, in my opinion.
Wow.
That's the only recommendation I need.
All right. I'm going to be listening to him right after this. Like, I've listened to stuff here and there, but haven't actually like taken the time to do a little more research on him. So
I'll have
investigating, I guess you could say.
I'll have him make a little care package and send it over to you guys.
A little care plate?
Yeah.
A care plate.
That's sick. I'm like I'm thinking about our Riot Control radio schedule. I'm like, we have some slots open in a couple months.
Dude, any chance I get, I'm saying like Stains, Inactive, Dr. Ushu. Like whenever people ask me like Stains, Inactive, Dr. Ushu, like those are the three you need to be listening to the most right now, in my opinion.
Fire.
Noted.
Yeah. All right. We got the last question. You may or may not know what's coming. Fuck, marry, kill.
Jesus
Level, Keizo, Dr. Ushu.
Oh no! Fuck! God damn it!
We had to.
Fuck me. Okay. Fuck Level, because I've spent too much time with him that I cannot marry him. Marry Dr. Ushu, because he's just such a wholesome little beam, and he just feels like really warm and snuggly, you know. Like I wouldn't mind going. Yeah, I wouldn't mind going home to that after every long tour. And Hayden, I'm sorry, but you gotta get got.
What incarnation?
You're gonna kill for Lord Farquaad?
It's not that I want to, but
and ended with Lord Farquaad.
with the options presented to me, I have no choice.
All right.
Yeah,
that's it.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
I'll forgive you though.
Thank you for having me and fucking sick answering questions. Sorry about my rants. I get off topic a lot. That's kind of my thing.
That's why we brought you on.
Yeah. You can let it all out.
Yeah. Thank you for being our guest. Do you have any last words for everyone?
Support the underground. Support your friends. Don't be afraid to be yourself. And preservation of the scene is important. Make sure to give credit where credit's due, you know? It's our scene. We can't let outsiders ruin it for us.
Preach.
I love that. SweetTooth for president 2K24.
Oh, hell no.
The president we need but don't deserve.
The Riddim president.
Just let Infect handle that. I'll give that one to Christian.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll have to get him on next. President.
Yeah. If Infect becomes president, I'll be one of his advisors. That's the most you'll get out of me.
There you go. You can be Secretary of State.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Secretary of Plates.